Hello folks, Fat Guy Flies RC out here at the Avon Park Aero Modelers Club in Avon Park, Florida. I'm going to take up the Kit Fox again, and I know you're probably getting sick and tired of the Kit Fox videos, but I got a little update on it. Actually, if you look down right there on the cowl, on the battery hatch, there is two like dummy inlets that don't go all the way through. They're just more for decoration. Well, I decided to take a razor blade. I opened both of those up and then took a black Sharpie and painted the inside. You can see that white foam. That, and of course with the new 60 amp avian ESC, I'm hoping that doesn't solve my heating problem. The avian 60 amp ESC did seem to help than the stock one. Now, to give you a little update, Flight Test called me back. Right, left, up, down. They called me back the very next day after my video hit for the ESC, you know, getting hot, and they said, we watched your video, we heard, and I left a voicemail, and I wasn't all that nice to them. I ain't gonna argue with it. I was a little mad at them, and they said, but they said that particular ESC that was stock, they said we have no idea how it overheated like that, and they said, but they said we looked at your setup and yours was a little further forward than we like to put it. We like to keep a little further away from the battery. They said, but it should not have burned up like that. They said, so it must have been a bad ESC, so we're going to send you out one that's a little more heavy duty. And the fact that he described things in my video, so I know he watched it, and also the fact that they said, you know, called me back immediately the next day, next business day, that morning actually. It was like first thing, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, that's pretty good customer service. A lot more than I would have, you know, gotten a personal call back from Verizon. They called me and they left a voicemail, and finally I was able to talk to them, and I was like, that kind of impressed me. Now the wind is southwest, so let's very much cross the runway. So we're going to, in this light little plane, right, left, up, down. But I want to see if those cooling hose, well, cooling vents don't help with overheating. Because last time I flew, the plane had a 140 degrees or 142 degrees on the ESC after flying it around, and I thought that just seemed a little hot to me, and so for that reason I did the cooling holes, and I wanted to see if that doesn't help. This is a very stable little plane, but it's very windy. It's about 15 to 20 mile an hour out of the southwest. So more south-southwest right now.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, it's a fun plane to fly. Is
mid rates, high rates.
back to my high rates right now. Yeah, it's a fun little plane to fly. Aerodynamically, she flies really well. You have to be careful though with those ailerons, because they're full span ailerons. So she'll bite you on takeoff if you're not careful, and she'll tip stall to one side or the other. You want to give her enough speed to take off. All right, let's do a temperature check real quick. You'll be able to see it in says 147 degrees total in there. Which I guess is okay. It's not like super hot. Yeah, the EEC is 147. The BEC is 123. I don't know why the difference of that is, but well, maybe the cooling mod's not really helping that much. They did send me out, like they said, and they shipped it to me very quickly, a more heavy-duty ESC, and they said it can withstand a lot more temperatures. So we shall see.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
I do love the red, white, and blue colors. They do pop really well. Very easy to see. Bring her by into the wind here. See that tail wheel a little bit. You may not be able to on camera. Yeah, it's an interesting way to fly today. Completely across the runway. Crosswind on the runway, and definitely not a, this is definitely a bush plane flying kind of day. Alright. Yeah. Gotta get enough wind and enough speed underneath that wing.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
Timer was set for 5 minutes, just so you know. And it's so windy today, the only thing I'm wanting to do is just take off and land, take off and land. And that's with the plane having AS3X. Look at the wind pushing that plane back. Having the AS3X and safe. I have it on board, safe on board, but I'm obviously not going to use it. Man, the wind is absolutely horrendous right now. Bring the plane right at me. Love the coloration. Love the coloration. Trent Palmer, you picked a good color to paint your plane. Really did. Good patriotic colors, and flirting with a disaster flying over there by the F-16 killing zone. A lot of us members here, we swear that there's a dead zone or something over there that will just brown out your signal. But let's go ahead and land her. We'll take off one more time. Little touch and go. Yes, little British lady, I know. My fun is over.
7, 6.
Alright, let's do our temperature. It is so sunny though, you're not gonna be able to see it. Yeah, so it says up to 165. So let's, and just about a third of the battery left on 2200 smart. Let's just see how that correlates.
Motor on.
and how she actually feels. Okay. Okay. Battery's warm. Huh. Oh yeah, ESC is very hot. I don't know, this just, if it's just a bad design on how the way the plane is set up, there's not much cooling. The bottom cooling vent does go up a little bit, mainly feeds down, and there's nothing there. And then these are very small vents that go in, and so now I've added these, and I don't think they're doing much. What I might do is these little dummy vents that are on the side here, I may just open those up also and see if that doesn't help. The other thing I thought about doing is installing a grill down here at the bottom side, putting a grill down here where it feed directly in, and actually putting the ESC right there, and feeding it and having the air feed directly onto the ESC. Now, if that's the case, I would probably do use the ESC they sent me for that, and then use the Smart Avian ESC and something else. But it's just, if you can just conquer the cooling issue, this is a great flying plane. I highly recommend it. It just, you got to get this cooling issue under control. So other than that, great plane. I really enjoy flying her. She's a solid plane. She looks good. She handles well. Just be careful on your takeoff. Make sure you're right on that, on your controls, you know, and especially with a little bit of rudder to compensate for these really big ailerons. You know, they're almost full span, so you don't need much for them to turn. And if you overcompensate, you'll see, like I did that last time, and I tumbled her. But with that tumble, there was absolutely, this foam is some of the strongest foam I have ever seen on a plane. And there was absolutely, and these magnetic team wingtips stayed right on. There was absolutely no evidence of that tumble at all. So very tough plane, very light, very tough. So I do recommend her. We got to iron out this cooling issue, but it's a good looking plane. I do recommend her, and I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and them planes. And I'm sorry my camera lady couldn't film for today. She had to work. Bye.